Alright, so we're doing this at night, obviously because the next couple of days, or 3 days, is going to be like 104-degree weather. So, it's pretty simple. We need to take off this old steering wheel, and the steps are simple. Alright, step 1. Using your control here for the steering wheel, you're going to pull the steering wheel as far out to you as possible, extending it all the way forward and down just a little bit. You need it about that much just so you can clear the back end, because in the back of the steering wheel you're going to access 2 T27 torque screws on both sides. That's what holds this center airbag cover. Step 2, disconnect battery terminals. I disconnected the negative, set it aside, make sure it doesn't come into contact with any metals, and wait about 10 minutes for everything to discharge properly. Step 3, go ahead and start disassembling or loosening the 2 torque bits. And it's pretty simple. It's a T27 for a screwdriver, and then I used a 1/4 socket and a small ratchet driver. And the reason why I do this is because you can't get a screwdriver back here. It's too short. This is just barely enough clearance. There's about an extra 2 inches here of clearance before you won't be able to fit anything back there. So that's what I used. And you just break them loose. Go ahead and remove them completely. Step 3, carefully pull back airbag cover. Step 4, we're going to be disconnecting all the harnesses. It's very easy. You're just going to disconnect the top one here, which is just a pressure clip. Same for the one on the right. Very carefully. The same one here. Now, disconnecting the airbag harnesses is very easy. With a screwdriver, you're going to pop these pins out. Now, these pins are retainer clips. Be very gentle with them. You don't want to lose them. Like that. Now, with these pressure clips, you see this one right here, there's 2 on both sides. Once you relieve the retainer clip up here and you lift it up, you can squeeze these 2, but you're going to need a screwdriver or something slim to put pressure against it and lift. Carefully put the airbag somewhere safe in a secure area. I always put it on the passenger side. And this is what we're left with, the steering wheel. We are going to have to remove it with an Allen socket. So, we need to remove this. It could be a little troublesome in that tight space, but it's going to be a Allen 10 socket. Fits right in there, and it will require a bit of leverage, so I am using a breaker bar. I'm just kidding. It's not that tight, but I do need to hold it with both hands, so I'm dropping the camera for this one. Oh, there you go. Sorry about that. A little overly dramatic, but we got it. Couple little bit more turns with this bar, and then we can just do it by hand. Be very careful and make sure that this socket is seated all the way inside and it gets adequate grip. You don't want to strip this bolt. It's the last thing you want to do. So let's go ahead and take out, and we just thread it by hand. Notice the Loctite. Nice. Put the bolt aside, don't lose it, as you will need to use it again, obviously. Now, like I mentioned before, these are for the paddle shifters on both sides, we are going to reuse these harnesses. Next step, transfer your original paddles or buttons to the new wheel. It's pretty simple. Flip wheel, and you're going to just insert pick at the very end of right here and push it up. Once you do that, it comes right out. Flip the wheel again, and you're just going to gently force with the little peg facing upward in and out the back, just like that. Put old wheel aside and reassemble the new paddles. Make sure your wheels are straight. Obviously that's the first step. Installing wheel is very simple. Make sure your clock spring is centered. Exactly how you removed from the original steer wheel, make sure it stays in the same position. And if you notice those little slot divots, they're on the same on the new wheel. Slot right there, slot right there. So there's no way to mess this up. You're just going to run the cords through. Those three right there, you're going to run them through. And the locking mechanism for the clock spring is going to be in that hole right there. Once it's pushed back all the way in, you'll notice it is lined up down right there into the line sequence from top to bottom. And there you go. Now we got some fresh Loctite on here. Gonna screw this bolt in. It is gonna be torqued down
to 56 foot-pounds
for the wheel itself. So just make sure that is in all the way snug. So, and then we're going to go ahead and connect it to our torque wrench. Ta-da! Obviously you'll need an extension. Make sure it's seated, the socket is seated all the way, and begin torquing. Now you will have SRS codes, mainly because you disconnected the airbag. And if you turned it on, or have like I did, I turned it on just to test something else, I'm gonna have this airbag light on. Disconnecting the battery won't eliminate that airbag. You need to eliminate it with a scanner. Now this is a cheap scanner, it's like 150 bucks. Just go into the actual file for this vehicle, which is an SLS R171 05 up to 0505. My production is 0405, so that's right there on the money. Left hand steering, it'd be nice if it was right. The 55 automatic, and it's going to go through all the sequences. You could do it manually and select the direct one, but I like to go through all the codes. Now this is not going to be anything close to Star or any of the multiplexers that are out there. Get those if you have the money. This is just, I have this on one on each vehicle. It's just, you know, it's handy. And we're going to go to Airbag, and we're going to read the code, and there it is. Resistant, pretty much open circuit. It's not detected, too high. We're going to clear fault, and once you clear fault, it instantly erases. No longer on there, which is pretty neat. Once you do that, you press OK. I'm just going to go through the transmission, since I always like to check for codes. I did take it for a little drive. No codes or anything I found. Awesome. We're going to go through the motor itself, because I did change out the secondary air pump. Awesome. We probably need to drive it a little bit more. I only drove about like 10 miles. Another 20 miles will tell me more or less if I eliminated that code. But that's pretty much it. Go ahead and shut it off. Remove key. Reinsert key. And airbag light should be off. Perfect. And we get to unfold the beauty.